everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. This video is part 2 of the Empath series. So if you haven't seen my first video, I'll link it below and you can go check it out. Now, if you're an empath like me, you know very well how you can get overwhelmed and drained easily, especially in dealing with strong personalities. Now, I know for me personally, I have always gotten overwhelmed so easily from conversations with people, so even just like processing the amount of energy to expend in a week, like thinking about what I have to do, and it's just like it overwhelms me instantly. And I know this has all come from a place of needing to improve my self-care, just knowing how to prioritize myself better and like taking care of myself and protecting my own energy as an empath. And I have learned over the years three pillars that this comes down to for helping me take care of myself as an empath. So number 1 is honesty, 2, communication, and 3 is boundaries through self-respect. So I have found it hard to be honest with myself sometimes, because sometimes I feel like I'm taking on so many different energies that I'm just genuinely not sure which ones are mine, or which ones I'm even picking up from other people. Is this me that I'm angry and upset over something I need to sort out? Or like, was it from just watching the news a few hours ago, and sometimes even a few days ago, I find any violence or pain from others to like stay and linger with me for days, like as that sort of emotion is embodied in its fullest in the depths of an empath. Like pain and suffering, it's hard to bear and it's hard to witness. The first step is really listening to your feelings and honoring what step you need to take to process them. So this could be talking it out with someone you love and trust, and it could be taking a nice soothing bath and putting some music on and taking some deep breaths. It could do like breathing exercise with meditation. It could be a walk in nature. That's my personal favorite. That always grounds me. Like just the more time I take in getting to know myself and what ways work to decompress, just like certain social experiences, and that takes time. For example, like the less, social experiences, for example, the less inept I feel in handling my empathic abilities. And this honestly fosters communication, not only with yourself, with others. So it's so important to voice to your partner, your friends, whomever your needs as an empath are. And I know the difficulty is like, by personally myself, I know the difficulty of this, because some people don't receive things like I need space very well, especially in a relationship. So check out my next video that I will link in the description box below, once it's uploaded that is, about how to care for empaths as a non-empath. And I go over how to set your boundaries like that without offending someone else. So be clear about communicating your needs and ultimately your boundaries as an empathic person. This is the most important thing you'll ever practice as an empath. Like I said earlier, interacting with others and communicating your needs can be exhausting for an empath. Now, it's good to note that stretching yourself in social situations as a means of like compromise isn't a bad thing. And over the years, I have unhealthily just shied away from lots of fun because I was nervous about like certain social settings. Like I wasn't capable of handling such large crowds or events. But as an empath, you are perfectly capable and able to do that. It just takes a bit more conscious awareness and energy to go for these things compared to your average person. Compromise isn't always bad, especially in social settings, as at the end of the day, you must be honest with yourself and be like, look, I just spent 2 hours with my friend group, or just chatting over coffee with this person, and I can feel myself getting drained. I can feel myself becoming so low energy and fatigued. It's time to head home. It's time to head home and take care of myself and my energy. And there's no guilt to be found in that. There's no guilt needed in that. That's called showing up for yourself. And that is a loving act to admire, not belittle. Don't worry. So in regards to protecting your own energy, interacting with others, I often find myself needing to break up intense conversations, such as like disagreements and like heavier topics like the news, what's going on in the world and stuff like that, in order to step back and regroup a little bit. So I have found my anxiety can set in from the emotional overload my body is feeling in more intense conversation, and it feels energetically equivalent to a warning light going off, like flashing at me saying, hey, change course, like I can feel myself getting overwhelmed. So if the situation allows for it, such as like this isn't a time-sensitive conversation, then by all means, take a time out and come back to it if you can. It really helps you take a step back and declutter all that stuff that's going on in your mind and your being. It's a highly sensitive person. In your relationships, you should feel understood and respected for being who you are, not just by yourself, but by other people. And if you're not, then these aren't really your people for you. Being an empath is a gift, and only those who do not respect it and make you feel guilty for it, for like having a social life that's different than theirs, can almost convince you of having a curse. It's not. Your empathy is a gift, and it's changing the world more than you know, as that is where God lives and thrives, in love, in and through you. So if you communicate your boundaries, recognizing relationships take compromise, and it's more of a give and take than it ever will be black and white, right? And the other cannot receive it respectfully. Communicate how this makes you feel, and really think, is this the person you want to have a relationship? Is this a person you really want to be around, like platonically or intimately? If they really cared about you, they wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable or in an environment that makes you feel uncomfortable for a long period of time. So it's not easy having a relationship with an empath. I mean, platonically here as well. It takes a stable, emotionally aware individual to be able to know how to communicate and interact with an empathic person without taking things out of context or without taking them personally. So I get it. Empaths pick up the habits, personality, and emotions of other people and project it back to the rightful owners. And this is actually known as the mirror effect of the empath. Now, have you ever went to the movies and when the movie's over, you feel like you are the main character or have befriended all of the characters in the movie, and for the next few hours, you find yourself feeling victimized if it was a horror film that you saw, or looking around trying to save people and almost looking for your shield if it was like a Marvel movie that you just watched? Do you ever feel like that? Does that ever come into your being or become an identity for your being for a few hours? Or someone you know? You see, as empaths, we easily absorb the reflections we are given and mirror it right back. So empaths can wear other people's energies and truths like it's a mask that they take on and off. That is why I cannot see a horror film without losing my mind for ages after. And another example is I can walk up to have a conversation with a stranger without any preconceived notions of how it's going to go and suddenly just be very aggravated, very grumpy. We weren't talking about, like, we were just talking about happy things, and the conversation slowly gets kind of like okay, I just want to leave. You know, you ever get like that? Because empaths absorb the truest form of energy embodied. The person I was talking to was putting on a smile on his face when really just 2 minutes ago, before any of this conversation happened with me, he was in an argument on the phone with his wife. So in this example, in the presence of empathy, things come to the surface, and love always, 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 always shines light on shadows and draws our truth to become known. And as an empath, at least for me, I have found it is so hard to separate how I'm feeling and how another is, because it is both me feeling. It can be hard, it can be tiring for empaths to properly handle confrontation because they want to prevent hurting people at all costs and like shut down very easily from resisting speaking up and just being honest. That is where working on boundaries and energy work comes in. So if you notice yourself starting to shut down easily, it is a good idea to practice setting boundaries for yourself. For example, if someone is gossiping with you on the phone or in person, spouting, toxic things, feel free to change the subject shortly and redirect it to a happier, lighter energy. Or tell that person, better yet, look, I'd love to talk and continue to be there for you further. I really would. But I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed like right now. Can we talk about this later? I know this is easier said than done. Trust me, I still struggle with this, but it takes practice and emotional awareness to juggle and showing up for others while supporting yourself. And sometimes it takes sacrifice. I know that. But it's important to not solely show up for others all the time at the expense of never showing up for yourself. That's my point. And I wish I had the formula to make it easier on you and me, but the closest thing that I've come to understand is all about cultivating respect, honesty, and clear-cut communication with yourself and with other people. It's huge, guys. And that is all for today's video, you guys. I really, really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and gently tap that like button and comment below how you can relate or not relate. This is such a passionate topic of mine, so let me know in the comments what y'all think too. So stay tuned for my next video to conclude the series. I will link it below. Until then, go out in the world and be love, show up for yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.